sad CR insurance specialist trying unsuccessfully to explain the complaint process to you. Denny, I know you'll be leaving here on Friday for the last time. Immensely proud of what you've accomplished, because let's face it, nothing instills pride like getting yourself promoted to the absolute lowest and least powerful management position in a little-known state agency, establishing yourself as a near permanent fixture at the bottom of the pay scale, and then failing to even so much as sniff another promotion before being virtually forced into retirement. In your own way, though, you always figured out how to do more than people expected. For example, you went and got a college degree to do a job that pays like you dropped out of 6th grade. In the worlds of TWCC and DWC, he was the ultimate ladies' man. A workers' comp James Bond of sorts, pursued relentlessly by women of every age and... I'm sorry, I've accidentally mixed in some of the serious remarks that I'm writing for the Randall Buckwalter retirement. Next year. When he first started, Denny was asked by management, "What are you interested in?" He replied that he was very interested in complaints. So they put him here in the compliance area, and then everybody had to listen to him complain for 21 years. When he arrived here, Denny was on every executive's radar. He was seen by them all as a rising star. It was at that moment he went all in, threw caution to the wind, took his big chance, and proceeded to achieve something that even most superheroes never achieved: invisibility. Denny, you have quietly toiled here, unrecognized, uncelebrated, in complete anonymity for decades. You always believed that if you just kept working hard, they would notice, and your reward would come. Unfortunately, the DWC executive team is going to find the remains of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 before they ever notice you. He did actually get close to nice promotions on 3 separate occasions. First, when he was briefly mistaken for Kerry Sullivan. Again, he was briefly mistaken for Tim Riley. Oh, no. And the third time when he was briefly mistaken for competent. In his 21 years, he saw it all. And as a result, he has so much wisdom. I myself was lucky to have learned so much of that from him. For example, when I first became a manager, I struggled with the amount of backstabbing that happens around here. He recognized my struggle, took me aside, and explained that I would actually get ahead faster, and more importantly, I would be at peace if I could just learn to hold an angry grudge while plotting a horrifying revenge. As a coworker, you might know him as a pretty serious person, but people are often quite different at home. And Denny actually loves unserious, silly movies. A lot of people don't know this, but his favorite movie of all time is Clueless, which also just happens to describe his management style. This guy's legacy is the way he constantly proved his skeptics wrong. For example, when they said there was no way he could take an ugly, hopeless, massively bloated complaint backlog and actually make it bigger. or when they said it is impossible for any manager to consistently run off 50% of his staff every 12 months. Since you announced your retirement, the CR staff has been walking around here in shock. Yes, they always knew this day would come. They were just shocked it took so long to get here. I got to tell you, I've known most of the people around here for a long time, and I've never seen the CR staff so down for a party. At retirement age, you start realizing that it's probably not a good idea to continue losing sleep over your job. And Denny's no different in that regard. It wasn't job stress, though, that was causing him sleep loss. It's just that he drives so slow now. In order to get here by 7 a.m. from Buda, he was having to leave his house right after dinner the night before. Empathy, empowerment, integrity, inspiration, passion, creativity, and vision. Just a partial list of great leadership qualities. Denny proved every day for 2 decades that you could reject them all and still not get fired. Still fucking good. Today, there's both good news and bad news. The good news is that you're finally eligible for retirement benefits. The bad news is I just spoke with someone who hasn't seen you for a while, and they felt that you may also be eligible for burial benefits. Denny actually tried to retire 5 years ago, but he was confused about the rule of 80. He thought just looking 80 was enough. Denny usually ate lunch in his office, and you know he always ate healthy. But as you know, all that healthy food doesn't always sit quietly. And it's been said that during his 21 years here, Denny was responsible for launching more fragrances than Coco Chanel. An unnamed co-worker once visited his office during one of these events. He came out and immediately called for 2 DWC claim numbers to be assigned. When we asked why, he said that 2 serious injuries had been sustained, one to him and one to the environment. Denny loved to spend part of his free time playing golf, but he's a terribly unskilled golfer. To make matters worse, he's too cheap to play at nice courses. Among golfers, a rundown, raggedy course is known as a cow pasture. Some years back, I had the misfortune to play golf with him at one of these cow pastures, and he was so bad, even the cows were booing him. He tried to claim those were moos, but come on, I was there. When I asked him some of the things he would remember the most after he leaves this place, at the top of his list was his team here in complaint resolution. Or as he likes to say, my crack staff. I said, so these people, they're on the ball, huh? And he said, no. They work like people who are on crack. Half laughed at that. I worked hard on this. I stayed up late at night and struggled with what to say. What do you say to a manager who always has your back, who never gives up and inspires others to think and act that same way? A selfless leader who relishes even the most daunting challenge and rises each and every time to meet it? What do you say to a manager who is thoughtful and understanding but also driven and tough? What do you say to a loyal, inspired performer for whom failure has never been an option and never will. You say, thank you, Darryl Cooper. How are you not an executive by now? Thank you all for coming. And if whoever wants to retire next, just let me know.
Thank you, Darryl. You always bring me so much joy, especially when you leave the stage. I feel blessed and excited to be retiring, and I'm honored that each one of you would be here to share in the celebration with me. Thank you all for everything you've done. It's really appreciated. I won't miss the work. My wife has said I better get things to occupy my time. I won't miss the complaint phone calls and the emails, the threats to call the commissioner and call the governor. I won't miss the meetings. I won't miss the traffic in the morning and late at night. I will miss y'all. I'll miss my coworkers. We have a good team here that does a lot of good work for Texas. So keep doing that. 2 years ago, I planned to retire when I was 70. Last year, that changed to 65. And recently, I figured, let's go for it. Everyone asked me what made me retire, and I remember when I first started at the division, I worked part-time at Academy, and this time of year, we'd always sell hunting and fishing license, and they had a table like one of these set up, and you'd do it. This old man came up, and he was sort of limping, and he says, yeah, I'm 65, the state of Texas now gives me a free license. But he said, it's no good. He said, my knees are shot, I can't get in the boat, and I couldn't see to thread a hook if I had to. So I didn't want to wait that long to retire, so I figured go for it. The other thing was that E-Trade commercial you've seen on TV about the old lifeguard running down the beach and the old firefighter on the hose getting wagged around. I looked around here, and I was the oldest one here, so I didn't want that to be me. So I checked it out, and it is doable. And like Darryl Royal said, I didn't want to stay here until I used up all the enjoyment, because that's too long to stay anyway. Thank you for making this an enjoyable career and a good place to work. I still can't believe I'm going to get to stay at home and get paid for it.